Howdy, howdy.
Hello.
How's
Hi,
everybody doing?
everyone.
How's everybody out there in the YouTube verse?
Yeah, I'm good. It is
StreamYard
hot
says there's
here.
0 people here.
Hot here in Indiana. We are 16 degrees above average.
Ooh.
It is. Yesterday it was 80. It got up to 88. It's just dry heat. Rain is something that happens to other people. It doesn't happen to us.
We got a good bit of rain. I think we're doing all right.
Yeah, I think you guys got a good amount of rain. You're probably fine, but I kept hoping that hurricane would make it to us, and it fizzled. We got nothing.
It didn't do much over here. I didn't.
Yeah,
just no power loss. Didn't get to plug in all the battery backup pumps and lose a crap ton of sleep like I did last time we lost power.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want you guys to have a miserable hurricane. I would just like some rain, and I would like it to. Yeah, Nancy B says it's 88 and dry. That's how it is here too. We are 16 degrees above average, and it's been like this for a week. Well, like more than a week, and yeah,
89 here. I don't know what the humidity is right now, but it's
yeah. I mean, it's pleasant here because it's dry heat. I don't mind it, but it's dry. Scotty says, let's talk about plants. He's annoyed with our talk about weather.
Good Lord. We got to let people file in. Okay. This is the small talk portion of the stream.
We could talk about how the lack of rain is affecting my plants. I have to water them a lot. How's that, Scotty?
Yeah, I mean, going outside in the heat to do the rain's job is a little annoying for sure.
I know. It would be nice if, it would rain once a week. It would make my life a little easier.
Settle down, Scotty.
I have a question.
He's screaming at us. All right.
Stop yelling. Yeah, Nancy B wants you to settle down. I agree.
Be much more effective if you just type the question instead of announcing you had a question.
Or are we supposed to guess what his question is?
Could be. When you go to an auction and buy a plant, how can you confirm the plant is the plant that it says it is? Be a botanist.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Some plants you can't confirm what they are unless you see them flower. Certainly,
I want to buy that new
immersed form.
Crystal Castleman just recently released a pocket book. I don't know.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, her big book is really, really good.
So you could bring that along.
And that's useful. I mean, if it's a trusted seller, that helps. But otherwise, you have to just use your own knowledge.
So what plants are more likely to be mislabeled? I would say if they're trying to do trying to name the species of Val, that's probably wrong.
Yeah, crypts. I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
crypts. A lot of them look alike unless you see them flower. Yeah, a lot of rotallas. I mean, God.
I mean, there's there's a million types of rotundifolia.
There's a million rotundifolias, and they're all the same species. I think. I mean, I don't really know. My Rotala orange juice looks like a Rotala cranberry juice.
My Rotala orange juice looks like Rotala orange juice, and my Rotala Hurrah looks like it's not celebrating quite as much as it should.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what the deal with that one is. I've lost it twice now.
Really?
It's the same. Well, this one, I mean, this was I ordered a plant shipment from the co-op because the weather was it's going to calm down and be in the high 80s. And then when arrival day came, the weather was just kidding. JK, it's 102.
And you're last on the stop for UPS. So
I know, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I'm first. And now that the co-op is so close by, they're
was it overnight for you now or 2 days?
I mean, it's last time I bought from there, I bought it on a Sunday. Did I get it on a Monday? I mean, it's so
No, that would be
It's
unrealistic.
definitely Tuesday. I think I got it on a Tuesday. So, but it's like, oh,
Nice.
that was fast. So,
That's really good.
yeah, I mean, proximity. But Nancy B really gets stuff from there fast. So she says, I'm getting plants from the co op and hopefully fish from Foxy and Petland this
Ooh,
week. Woo! What are you getting? Oh, so excited.
trying to think of a fish they sell that I wouldn't be excited about. Plecos.
I mean, they're going to be great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Sad news for me. I thought I had scored some Melanitania Synergos. The guy is
Oh,
no longer selling them because one of his tanks has ick. And so he's not selling any fish right now. I mean, I guess that's the responsible thing to do. But it's like, why don't you just like treat your ick and cure it and then sell it to me at the end of October? I'll still buy them.
I was wondering
So
if Rebecca would catch that.
I too hate plecos, so
Like the troll heart.
Nancy's finally getting her Similis. Oh,
Nice. I have
nice.
some of those. They're really well. Let me say, Lillian has some of those, so I don't get to enjoy them quite as often. I need to get some for other
Yeah, you need some
things.
for your other tags. Nice.
So ick though, I mean, like that'll be good in a week, right? Or
Yeah,
is it like a really
I
bad
don't
losing?
know. I mean, that's all I know is what he said. I mean, if he's not willing to sell them, he's not willing to sell them. Marcel is selling them right now. They're on Aquabid. Starting price is $120 for 6 fish that are juveniles. They're
I'd
not
still do
even
it.
grown out. No, I'd have to feed them baby brine shrimp for like 6 months. I'm not willing. I'm just not willing. Someone else will get them. They will breed them up. I mean, I do really want that species. It's been on my bucket list for a while, but no. $120 for 6 fish that I have to grow out. Come on. Come on.
But they're rainbows, and
They are.
if it's a bucket list rainbow, then you got to do what you got to do. Hatch
I
some baby
mean, what
brine.
I would do is if I bought them, I would get like extra of them and send them for like preschool at Foxy and Peplin's and they could grow them.
There you go.
They could send
Foster children.
no, they could grow them out for me because I just don't want I don't want to pay that much money also for fish that I have to grow out myself. Come on. Like
So Rebecca says, my plecos would love digging up your setups. I bet they would, and rasping on the swords. But then the smaller hippopotamus,
hippopotamus.
the
Would be chill.
rhinoceros would be chill.
Autocyclists are indeed cute.
Hmm.
When's the last time I had autos? It's been a while. I'm not anti-auto. I like auto.
I love autos
Autos. I
and
just
Pandagara and all the little
yeah.
raspy, not plant killing
I mean, I have a lot of
suckerfish.
little gobies. Those have sucker mouths. They're really cute. I've had some Psychiopterus gobies. Those kind of aged out after a few years, but those were cute. Let's see. I have Farluella. Those are a catfish, right? I have some
Yeah,
Corridoras.
the little stick
Um,
catfish.
yeah, I've got 2 of the little twiggies. Yeah. So Alex says
Pandagara
that
are not
Marcel's
plecos. Yeah,
prices are up there. Rainbows and Hillstream loaches both. I've got Hillstream loaches from him before, and they were really nice. And I only have like 1 or 2 of them left because it's been a few years now. I should get some more from him. I don't think his Hillstream loaches prices are that bad, actually.
well, I mean, if they're priced at what people will pay for him, because he's a
yeah.
well-known breeder, so
Yeah, and I was
that anything from his
I've
fish
been
from.
happy with what I've gotten from him. I just am not willing to buy fish. If they were grown out, I would buy them. But I'm just not willing to pay a bunch of money for fish that I then have to grow out. So, I
Some
mean,
fancy Hillstreams seem to be imported these days. Yeah, there's
yeah,
some
we are getting
expensive ones.
we're getting some really cool ones in, which is really nice. So So Scotty asks, is it true that Limnophila aromatica mini is rare? I don't think it's that
I
rare.
didn't know there was a mini version of Aromatica.
I've heard of it before. I'm a little skeptical that it's real. I think it's just regular Limnophila aromatica.
Yeah, I wonder about that. It's like let's stunt this plant for all of its life, and then it's
And
a
I will
mini.
say this about Limnophila aromatica. It's an easy weed. I think it's really pretty, but it's an easy weed, especially if you have CO2 or low pH water. It's a really, really easy weed. Scotty says he got some for $4. Well, let us know if it really is mini.
Yeah,
Oh,
see with Aromatica, it definitely needs high light at a minimum. Um,
yeah, I
just
would
for the hell
agree.
of it, I put a sprig of it in non CO2 injected because I've never tried it non CO2 because was told right off the bat just put it in
Yeah.
CO2. So
Did
I just
it
want
do
to see what it
anything?
does. It's only been a week, so too
No.
early to tell.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been my impression that it needs CO2. It might sort of limp along without it, but Scotty has really, really low pH water, so you can
Yeah,
get away with a lot.
you got some for $4.
You can get away with a lot. Though apparently Scotty should raise the pH of all of his tanks to 6 to 8 because that's ideal. No, don't
Oh,
raise your cage. If you have magic water out of the tap that's low, like you should just be really glad
I
for it.
love the anyone who states like this is the pH, this is the KH, this is the GH that you need. Like,
Confidently
uh,
incorrect. Those of us
shit.
who've been desperate to have lower KH
Oh,
water
God.
for years, like
And the thing is, like our KH at a 6 degrees, like if you
it's not
compare
bad.
it to the population of the United States,
Yeah, compared to what I
doing
had
pretty
in
good.
Coralville, Iowa, where it was
God, yeah.
22. No, it's so much easier. Scotty says he got charged $20 for Hygrophila triflora, but didn't get it. I've never heard of that one.
I haven't either.
But in general, I am not really going to buy any Hygrophilas. They're kind of weedy. And I don't really like stems. So then he says, is that like dwarf water lettuce? It's really just water
Yeah.
lettuce that is tank dwarf. That is such an amazing plant, because you can take the same one and you're like, it's a dwarf, it's a dwarf, it's a dwarf. And you can put some of it in a pond like mine and it will get to be that big. And you can put some of it into a big pond and like, oh, it's that big
It's
around.
like it knows how big
Really,
it's allowed to get.
it does. It's so interesting how that is. And I've done the reverse too. Like someone will give me a big rosette of it, and then when it propagates, it'll be smaller. So it really does kind of just grow to the size of the tank. So,
So I'm looking up Hygrophila triflora.
yeah.
The rare, OMG,
Yeah, I mean, there
rare.
are lots of hygrophilas. Some of them are banned in the United States, but
This one of those, like, we grew one sprig of it in impossibly difficult conditions for you to replicate. And let's see. Doesn't look, well, I'm getting conflicting images, which is really annoying. Okay.
yeah, I don't know that one. But again, I don't try to keep on top of the latest and greatest stems because I don't really care about stems.
I like stems. They grow fast, and then
Yeah,
I
you
can
like
send them
stems.
to members.
That's right.
So
And there's
this
nothing wrong with that. You can grow what you like.
it's like little bitty mini jazz hands on the plant.
It's cute.
Yep.
It's cute. I mean, hard to say though if that's immersed or
Yeah,
submersed
I had no
form.
idea. It's in a
Hard to
pot,
say.
which
Also,
makes me
like,
think.
yeah, probably hard to say. It hard to say how fast it grows. I mean, if it's a hygrophila, though, my guess is probably faster. Though hygrophila pinnatifida, however you want to pronounce that, there is no consensus. I don't think
Pinamat-
grows that fast. I also find that plant very ugly. I know a lot of people really, really like it, but I find it especially ugly. So
it's good for an aquascape whenever you intend to tear down said aquascape, because once it does get happy and get going, it doesn't give a crap where you want it to go. It's just gonna go wherever.
Yeah. And people grow it epiphytically, which is kind of cool. That you
That's
can
what
do.
it's really, I think, is meant for in an aquascape, is just a little accent plant
Little
on some wood or
trees, a
rocks.
little bit like little trees. It's kind of ugly. So, but you know what? People can grow what they like.
Looks like cilantro.
It does,
Looks plastic. Yeah.
I hate cilantro. I'm a cilantro hater. Boy, I'm a real hater in this stream today. I'm a real hater.
Negative.
No, it also looks a bit like ginkgo leaves. I'm pro ginkgo. I mean, the fruits are pretty gross. They're very stinky. So Scotty says he got 5 stems of Rotella wallichii for $8. That's pretty cool. And you live in a place where you can grow it because you have low pH water out of the tap.
Put it straight into that CO2 tank.
Yep. And I have been told, I don't know this for sure, that if you just give it CO2 and low KH, like it's an easy weed and it's not hard to grow at all.
Yeah, it really, and like I even had some growing in KH of 6. It's just, I don't know what happened to it, but like I changed something and it's like, bye. And it needs highlight too. Like it.
Yeah, I tried growing it when I was in Iowa.
I didn't take pictures of pink flamingo, but the one that was doing bad last week is doing better, and the one that was doing well last week is now doing worse. And so it's like I'm not allowed to have more than one pink flamingo that's doing okay. They talk to each other across the tank.
They do. They're like, it's your turn. Take a break. I'll take a break.
And then there's one that I have in low tech, and it's doing the same thing, just being a little tiny and stupid. So plants that sell well, because we're gonna be taking plants. Well, I don't know if you will, if you remember or have the time.
Here's the plan. Jenna is gonna remind Jake, who's gonna remind me.
Good plan. And then we'll be selling plants at the Fishfam link booth at the Keystone Clash for a pretty decent price. Well, I'll probably ruthlessly undercut the rest of the vendors there.
I mean, so what I have is I have at least one hate-eye pearl sword.
That's a good one.
I think somebody will really want that. And I have a wad like this big of glorious Monte Carlo. I could break it up, or I could sell it all in one wad. And that would be enough to do like an entire foreground for like, I don't know, a 200-gallon tank.
So if you
I was going to enter it in the show, but I think I'm judging the plants. Probably.
You are. So I'm keeping it quiet whether I'm entering or not entering, and if I am entering, what I'm going to enter. No conflict of interest. We're not even allowed to look at the aquascaping while it's happening, which makes me sad. But
so if you want to hang out with me, if you're an aquascaper, because I think I'm judging that,
I am too.
You need to leave the room, because I want to see you, but I can't go visit you at your scape. So, and you can't tell me about your scape.
No.
You could just say it's going good or it's going bad. I mean, but you can't say like, oh, I'm using this stone and this fish and these plants. Don't tell me.
So Nathan, I think he's asking about penitentiary.
I wouldn't say it would do better. I don't think it does better. It's just
because it is a stem plant and it will take nutrients from the roots. So
in fact, I think it would do better planted in the substrate. However, you can grow it like an epiphyte. So you can take some super glue and glue it to rocks or wood, and it's just an aquascaping choice that you can make. However, if you just want to grow it, I would plant it in the substrate. It's probably going to do a little better that way.
Yeah.
So Scotty says he can spare me from being a plant judge if I want to enter. I don't like I care that much. I think I'd rather judge. So
be judgy.
Yeah, I enjoy being judgmental. I also volunteered Jake's service as a judge.
Oh, just have him judge a random fish category he knows nothing about.
I
Like,
said
man, these
the
are
qualifications were he was a 4-H livestock judge and he is a cat enthusiast.
he can judge goldfish.
Sure, why not? I mean, I have goldfish. He likes them.
So Salient says he just got a 300-gallon jealous and needs some easy to
Yes,
grow, hardy, big
yes.
plants to cover the overflow boxes,
Excluding
excluding
swords.
swords,
I was
water
about to tell
sprite,
you. I was about to tell you now is your chance to grow enormous swords.
or maybe he already has swords, and that's why
Or
he said
maybe with
excluding
plecos. Because
big
plecos will
fish
wrap
going to be in it.
big
So,
fish.
what kind of big fish? Like, is it the
Yeah,
kind that like to
yeah.
redecorate?
Because I'm not an expert on those kind of fish. I only
Yeah.
eat peaceful, sort of non disruptive fish. So a good person to ask about that would be June. June has Oscars. They uproot things. Vowels are, but you don't want vowels. So excluding swords, water sprite, and jungle val. I would say if you're going to use CO2, which I don't know that you will for a tank that big, but if you are bulbous, oh my God, it gets enormous.
Oh, I missed it. He said, Oscar's massive pleco. Gonna get some
Okay.
other ones. So Oscars,
Mm.
June. Which of the plants in your Oscar tanks have they not messed with?
If you have plecos, though, swords are a no-go because
The
they will rasp them and
Yeah,
it
I
will just
think the
not look
Val
good. I don't.
Val Gigantea, I think, was doing okay in June's tank.
Okay. Like the Val Americana would probably do well too.
Hmm.
That one gets pretty big. Um,
Um,
if you had CO2, I would say bulbous gets enormous. Java fern gets enormous. If you don't have CO2, the bulbous will do almost nothing. If you have it though, it will get so huge. I got rid of it finally because I was tired of how huge it would get.
Imagine the CO2 injection required for a 300-gallon.
What you do is you just have multiple outlets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Big ass tank.
yeah, you could still have one, let's say, regulator with like a 10 or 20-pound tank, but you would split it and just had 2 or 3 different outlets, and it
Yeah.
would be fine.
I can't imagine he said no CO2 here. Just does
Okay.
thrive.
Okay.
So Rebecca said for goldfish, she used big pebbles around areas of planting to hold
Yeah,
in
that's cool.
the rocks. Also, crips and swords hold plants down reasonably well with all their roots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I've heard it's just really dependent on the personality of the fish. Some people have goldfish that never uproot anything, and some people have goldfish who uproot everything. They're very intelligent fish.
you got to
And
distract those goldfish with floaters
yeah, probably.
or
I
just
wouldn't, the only goldfish I've really ever kept are the ones in my ponds. And they don't dig at anything that's in a pot, my water lilies and stuff, but they have different personalities for sure.
let's,
So
let's help Lumpy Dog with his hydroponics. Weed grows well but doesn't budge. Should I dose more Easy Green? It's got what plants crave,
here's
right?
the thing, you can dose terrestrial plants with Easy Green. However, there are many cheaper options, so much cheaper. And I like Easy Green and I use
Yeah,
Easy Green for my aquariums, but I would never use Easy Green in a terrestrial plant just because I mean,
it's meant
excuse
to
me, Miracle
be
Grow. It's so much. There's
yeah
so many cheaper options.
manageable for diluting in water, and because where plants actually have limited CO2 access, they don't need
Right. I
the
mean, you're
nutrient levels.
paying for guaranteed no ammonia. That's what I'm paying for with Easy Green. That's why I
Mm,
don't use Miracle Grow in my tanks. So,
or
but
Osmocote.
but outside, in my stuff, like for my dahlias or something, I don't care if it has ammonia. In fact, I hope it does because plants love ammonia. So Scotty's asking me, do I want to judge 3D or just Jake? I mean, we both could, Scotty. I mean, we could team judge it. But if you want just Jake to judge it, Jake will do it. I mean, he has the he also was a noted florist. He did floral arrangements in 4-H, and he was the state champion multiple times. So there you go. And a cat enthusiast. I mean, what more qualification do you want? And a biomedical engineer, totally qualified for any fish show judging.
Well, there you go. I mean, he can follow a rubric.
He can.
They give you a like list of criteria to look for.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the 3D art judged on like how accurate the fish is, he just can't give you that. But you know, it's pleasingness to the eye, he can judge. So
yeah, terracotta pots would be a decent idea if you're trying to like keep them in place.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of people do. You know, use larger terracotta pots with a 300-gallon tank. You can use pretty big ones that are pretty heavy. They still might dig around in them. It's hard to say. You know, what I would do is I would not invest the money in planting. You know, usually we always say plant it the whole way to start, plant heavy to start.
You got to experiment and see what they're going to allow to be there. Yeah.
I wouldn't spend $500 on plants to start. I would try a few things and see what works for you.
If it's not too late, Jesse, you could turn that 300 into a rainbow tank. Just
yeah, make better life choices. 300-gallon rainbow tank would be awesome, and you can plant it up as much as you want, and the rainbows will be fine.
And if you got that 300-gallon for free, all that money you would have spent on the 300-gallon will go towards the expense of the plants and fish.
That's right.
Way more expensive to do
you
that.
Spend all your money on rainbows. But I mean, you can be assured that the rainbows will not tear up any plants. I have seen rainbows picket plants before, but like if there's a floating stem or a dead stem or something, they'll kind of like dart at it. But I've never seen them like attack a living rooted plant. Like they're very compatible with plants. So
yeah,
they
will certainly try to eat a piece of dead plant and then fight over it and realize, oh, it's this is worthless.
Yeah, definitely.
And then try it again. So Bob Mennel noticed that we're hosting a special guest on Wednesday.
We are. We should talk about that. So, I mean, if you like Wet Your Plants, you get it twice this week. If you don't like Wet Your Plants, I'm not sure why you're watching now. You should do something else with your time.
Hate watching.
Yeah, don't hate watch us. Like that's just do something else. But Tom Barr, he can't attend on Mondays, so we are having a special stream. What is it, Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern?
Yep, noon Central. It's 10 a.m. his time because he's got a teaching schedule, so he just told me when he's available. I'm like, yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that, and we've already got a list of topics for him to talk about, but bring your questions. I mean,
for sure.
He knows just so many things about plant physiology or like the history of planted tanks and the hobby of it.
And he's been running actual experiments with planted tanks for decades too.
And he's a great aquascaper. He has a PhD in plant physiology, which I do not. I have a PhD not in plant physiology. We were actually in grad school at the same time, I remember. So we got our PhD just about the same time. So, but yeah, I'm not a plant physiologist, whereas he is. So that's really cool. And I mean, if there's someone you want us to have on as a guest, like feel free to suggest it to us either in chat or privately. I
would like to have more guests on here that have different perspectives and know things and like
definitely. I mean, like especially like it would be nice to have some like really good aquascapers because Stephen and I we try, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not an aquascaper.
Yeah, I don't think either. It's just not what we do, but I think it would be great perspective, you know. So, anyways, pretty exciting.
Hmm. So I figure a lot of the back to like the topic of the plants that sell well. I've been thinking I probably will just bring a lot of weeds because I bet there will be a lot of people there who are just looking for plant mass to throw into their breeder tanks.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna bring what I have because that's what I have. I mean, so I'm gonna bring like a bunch of Marsilea because I have lots of it. So I'll bring some handfuls of it. I'll bring a bunch of Monte Carlo because I have a bunch of it.
Mhm.
I have some crypts I'll bring, and everybody can grow crypts. Um, yeah, I have that Haydite pearl sword. I mean, unless you have plecos, Haydite pearl swords are very easy and very well behaved. They're a very nice sword. So, yeah, but I don't think I'll bring any Blixa. I'll probably bring some Anubias. So, I mean, I don't know if you can see from what's behind me, I really need to do some thinning. It's been
Mhm.
a while since I did a big thin. Can't really call it trimming because I don't have stems, but it's been a while since I've really thinned the herd. So,
Trimming back the tank.
it's a good opportunity for me to do that. And since Jenna's going to remind Jake, who's going to remind me. So,
I've got a crap ton of Susswasser tongue that I can bring too. I think
yeah,
that'll be popular.
lots of people like that. I mean,
So as part of this, I was curious because the co-op sells a lot of plants. I yesterday I messaged
you.
Corey and asked him what are the top 5 best-selling plants at the co-op, or like does it change seasonally or month to month? And he said it does change based on what's been in videos. So
Oh
for a
yeah,
long, yeah,
100%.
for a long time it was Vallisneria, which makes sense.
Mhm. Easy
And
plant.
now it's Pogostemon octopus, which I
It
mean
seems
that
like
one
they
grows
have
like
had a lot.
mad.
It seems like they've had. I've seen them showing that in a lot of their ads lately.
It's I mean it grows like crazy. I don't
It does.
know at
It's
what
really
KH
easy.
level it would stop acting like that because
I
it,
mean, at a certain point, you can't grow it in battery acid,
yeah,
and you probably can't grow it in like toilet bowl cleaner. So not that,
yeah.
but it is really, really easy. I think you could grow it in a toilet bowl. I mean,
And then
so
like other ones, he used to push a lot of the dwarf aquarium bulbs like aquarium lily, tiger lotus, I guess. They
yeah.
were popular. Java moss always in the top 5. I don't have enough
Mm,
moss to bring to the clash. I don't have
yeah.
any moss except for a little bit of flame moss.
We should ask Corey if he wants to come on. That would be fun, I think. I think he would
Sure.
like to do it. Be a good guest.
No idea. I tend to not ask people because I just figure the answer is no, I'm busy.
I mean, all they can say is no. I
Yeah.
mean, whatever. I mean, and if he says like yes, but someday, not sure when, I'll take it.
Yep, that works too.
Whatever. We still plan to do this stream for a while. Like we've no plans of stopping.
How could
So
we stop talking about plants?
how could we stop? That's right. So Branton Lightcap says my KH is through the roof and still grows like crazy. Well, there you
Hmm.
go. Yeah, it's an easy weed. What is your KH, Branton? I wanna know how high it is.
Is it one of those like the test doesn't know because it's too high, like it's
That's what
maxed out?
mine was, at least somewhere at least 22, though I doubt the test is even accurate at that range.
Nah, yeah, at some point it just gives up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that those will be easy plants for people. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
I don't think. I mean, the only thing sort of hard I would bring maybe would be Monte Carlo. I wouldn't say Monte Carlo is hard, but you do need CO2. That is one of those plants that even with a low KH, you definitely need CO2. It In fact, it's like my indicator plant for if I'm injecting enough CO2. So the leaves will be morphologically different if you don't inject enough. They're a lot smaller. And if you are injecting enough, they'll be sufficiently big. So, you know, but if you have CO2, it's dead easy. And the trick for keeping it rooted is to just cover it in glass plates to your foreground. Don't move the glass plates for at least a month, maybe 6 weeks. Then when you move them, you'll have a lovely foreground that will be beautiful and a pain in the ass to take care of. I have a huge wad of it. You can see. See that wad back there? That wall?
Dang.
So what that is I have these apothecary planters that I grow. You can see the plants growing out of the
Oh
tank.
yeah, that's what I got. Like all
Yeah.
my stuff in the pothos mostly.
So I don't intentionally grow any Monte Carlo in my tanks, but
It's
once
like
you
a
have it,
weed.
yeah, once you have it, you can never not have it. And so a sprig of it will land in those planters, and once you, I mean, and then it will just take over, and it's getting sprayed with CO2, so it's really happy. But yeah, I just let it do its thing, and then the last time I had a giant wad of it, I gave it to Dee Dee. So all right, yeah, indicator species are interesting ideas. I used to have more indicator species for a variety of things. Strangely, I've noticed rabbit snails, Tylomelania, work well for fishes as an indicator. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Because maybe they're a little more
canary
sensitive
in
to water
the coal
quality.
mine type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that that's true. And I know that ecologists look for indicator species. So, but yeah, if you have a planted tank there, you just kind of over time, you start to look at your plants and you can kind of tell the ones that really, really need CO2.
So Noelle lives in Colorado, in the
Nice,
Denver area, I believe.
right?
So she's got that amazing 1 to 2 kh water. It's perfect.
So nice.
I'm not gonna taste your Neocaridina tank though. So
No. Yeah, so KH of 1 to 2, so easy to grow plants. There are a few plants that absolutely need CO2, but you are open to so many species there. I mean, and
yeah.
life is just easy with a KH that low for growing plants. Now there are some fish and shrimp that are fussy about their KH and may not like it. So you would have to adjust for that. But I would say in general, life is better with low KH water. It's much easier to make your water harder than it is softer.
So she was testing her Neocaridina tank, and so I guess something ate through the KH, and it was 0 because she's failing again with the Neos, and the Neos need some
Yeah, they do
alkalinity.
need some.
I wonder. So, how often do you change the water in there, Noelle? Like, I'm wondering what is eating through the KH and how quickly it is.
Yeah, and I would also say, you know, I mean, you want to keep the Neos that you have. That's great. But hey, why fight it? Like, just keep Caridina. You have the water for it. Like,
see, but then there's Caridina. There's a range. Like, I bet maybe
yeah,
like tangerine tigers and stuff would do okay. But then there's like Caridina, where not only do you have to have 0 KH, but you need that 0 KH so that it can make the water. You can put aqua soil in there, and it can buffer the water down to like 5. Like, it's those are like the ultra sensitive ones. They need like super acidic water. I don't know if I ever want to deal with that.
yeah, I am just not an expert on shrimp keeping. The only shrimp I've ever had are just Caridinas. I've had, just or Neocaradinas, sorry. I've had cherries and I've had blue dreams and they've done really well. I had tangerine tigers and they didn't die, but they never bred. They never bred. They eventually aged out. They just didn't like my water. I don't know why. I'm not an expert on shrimp keeping. So, but
Oh
I'll say
yeah.
that, it's easier to make your water harder than it is softer. Oh,
Yep.
raccoon shrimp.
Yeah, there was actually, so Grant did a talk when he was in town for FOTUS, and he went through a list, like starting with like here are the most resilient. There's the neos, and then the more resilient caradinas, and then all the way down to like here are the fussiest of don't even bother. Well, I just inserted that as my opinion. Don't even bother, but you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, I've heard also if you have hard water, the the Sulawesi shrimp are really easy, but you just have to keep it hot,
yeah.
79 or 80 degrees. But again, I've never bred those, so I don't know. So Noel
So
says, I've tried Neos and multiple setups, planted standard tank, my equilibrium hardened guppy tank, and now trying in a bare bottom tank with hornwort and crushed coral. Grant has suggested tangerine tigers. If that's what Grant suggests, I would go with it.
the pink flamingos of shrimp, yeah. So tangerine tigers, yeah, that was just my first thought because it was like it's one of the main cited caradinas that will generally do okay in reasonable neocaradina
Yeah, and
parameters.
I'm just not a shrimp expert, and I hate to like give you advice on them. So June says 20 Neos, yellow, 24 karat. Those are really pretty shrimp, those 24 karat ones. But aren't they kind of fussy? I don't know anything about
Mine are not reproducing. So
them.
Brooklyn gave me hers as she was breaking down tanks, and I have them in now. They're in with like a bunch of Phoenix and Chili Rasboras and some Corridoras. Maybe they just don't want to reproduce. I will say that I am a master breeder of wild type coal shrimp, though. They just will not stop.
Well, that's no surprise. That's no surprise. My blue dream shrimp have done really well. I do nothing for them. Oh, Nancy B says she lost all of her 24 karat shrimp. That's too bad. Those are really pretty.
What's the deal with
But
these
June
yellows?
says she's had them going for 2 years steady. So that's nice. Rebecca says she's had the Sulawesi snails for ages. That's really cool. I don't know what those look like. So that's really cool.
So
Dee Dee says
early,
my shrimp didn't reproduce when I had rasboras in the tank. Oh, well, that makes sense because they probably ate all of them.
yeah, and apparently, just even if the fish don't eat the shrimps or the shrimp eggs or the shrimp babies, the shrimp think that they do. Like the shrimp think that they're in danger, and so they might just consume their own eggs so they don't waste the
Yeah.
calories and energy because they think that it's not going to go well anyway.
Yeah. And, I have Golite Danios in that tank, and maybe that's why they didn't do well. I don't know. But I'm just I'm not a shrimp expert. So
Hmm.
oh, so Rebecca says rabbit snails, Hylomelania are Sulawesi snails. Okay, I've never heard them called that.
Too many different names.
Yeah, but the rabbit snails, those are really cute, but they eat plants, don't they? This is what I've been told.
That's what I've been told.
I won some from Dance Fish, but I gave them to Annette, and I know that they reproduced for her, and she had baby snails, which I bet were really cute. So
If she still has them, I know she's about to consolidate down to 190 and she wants
yeah.
plants. So we got to figure that out. I'm not going to send plants to their death.
That's right.
Only
So
to, yeah, she said hers never touched plants. Rebecca's hasn't, only detritus.
So Dee Dee says she never saw berry shrimp either, but it wasn't long after she took out the rasboras. Yeah, I mean, they can be very,
Rasboras are just stressful, aren't
very,
they?
very vigorous. I mean, they can be very vigorous. So, but yeah. So, but Rebecca says that hers have never touched plants. That's good to know. So,
Well, every other time someone says that a snail eats plants, it always ends up being not true. It's just no, you found a snail munching on
your dead
a
plant.
crappy part of your plant
And
or
your plants are all
biofilm on
dead
your
and
plant.
dying because you suck at keeping plants.
Yeah, how dare you blame the snails?
So that's interesting. But she says they'll eat mushrooms and courgettes, which for Americans are zucchinis.
Thank you, because I had no
I know,
idea
they're
that was the
zucchinis.
case.
So yeah, but again, those would be dead. You know, your zucchini is not a living plant. So June says, I have gross snails. They don't eat the plants. Gross snails. They're just gross.
My puffers find all snails delicious.
Yeah. So the Spixie snails, those will eat plants. I have heard that also. Yeah. You know, I had mystery snails as a kid. That's the only other, and I have the Cleathon snails, which I like. I've never had any other kind of snail. But Jake would like it if I got rid of all of these expensive rainbows and just dedicated the tank to pond snails.
You could have a lot of pond snails in there.
He should judge the pond snails, Ed. But just the pond snails, no other snails. I'd be like, oh, that's a good pond snail.
So do rabbit snails like to exit the tank?
I don't know. So Brandon says I got 2 rabbit snails at MAS. Where's that? Yesterday. Looked this morning and they're gone. Oh, that is a hazard with some snails. They do like to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hazard with mystery snails too. Sometimes they like to wander. I have not noticed it with Cleathon snails. They will hang out at the water's edge, but I've never had one escape. I'm
curious. So Branton earlier said his KH is off the chart. He lives in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So does Jeff Kane. Jeff Kane's water has, I think, 35 TDS, like has basically nothing.
It depends where you live. So if you live in like Madison or down there, the water is really, really hard because it's over limestone aquifer. But like where Foxanne lives, it's on they're called Gogebic sand. So that's where they mine the sands for fracking from. And so it's a sand pit. And so
I just think that is interesting because people like to overgeneralize about water hardness in different areas of the country, and it's like you can drive 20 miles down the road where I am, and you're gonna have different water.
Yeah. So, but Jeff Kane also has a well.
Yep.
But I know that like Madison City water. So Madison is in southwest Wisconsin.
Are Foxy and Peplin on a well?
I don't know, but it would not surprise me. I mean, they live, I don't know, middle of nowhere. They live out in the middle of nowhere. But up there is Gogebic sand. It's the geology of the area. And she's told me they live on a sand pit. So I think they have a well. So Branton says the GH is super high. The pH is 8.2. Yeah. So, I mean, and Wisconsin's a big state. It's very big north to south. So there's going to be different geology. And even in Indiana, which is not a huge state, like, so where I live, my KH is 6, my GH is 6. It's not that bad. But if you go south in the state, like to Indianapolis, which is only 2 hours away, it's much, much harder. You can get a KH of around like 14 or 15. So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So a lot harder water. So it can depend, but yeah.
So Stefan says rabbit snails drag their shells across the substrate like an old man dragging a suitcase.
That's some evocative imagery. Good job.
Do they burrow?
Yeah. I don't know anything about these creatures. So Zenny says we're in a municipal utility district. So the water is anywhere from 0 to 80% city water and 20 to 100% Lord knows what. So there's no stability in my water source. It's just not poisonous. That's Texas everything utilities for you, Zenny. I mean, yeah.
Pure anarchy over there.
I mean, I know a lot of Texas is really, really hard water because like Hill Country, which is Austin, is over just limestone aquifer. The whole place is limestone aquifer. And in fact, like
The whole Southwest.
if you go to your LFS, they have Texas Holy Rock, which people like to get for their cichlids because it's got those cute little holes in it, which the cichlids like to go in. Well, that's just limestone. It's limestone.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, that reminds me. Are you familiar with the channel Crime Pays but Botany Doesn't?
I am, and I saw you posted a video from there, and I haven't watched it yet, but I should because it's on the San Marcos River, which I have been to, and it's amazing. And if you live
really
anywhere near San Marcos, Texas, which Zenny does not, but like, so that's in San Antonio, I think. I think it's in San Antonio or close to it. It's really amazing. You can wade through it, and you know, even in March, the weather is amazing, and you can. There's so many plants growing, and it's not too deep, and it's really nice. So Zenny says she used to go tubing there every year. I totally believe it. Yeah, there's just tons of plants growing because there's natural CO2 there because it's over a limestone aquifer. So organic acids from just decay, they drip into the limestone and then it bubbles. You know, if you add acid to limestone, you get CO2 liberated and it bubbles up. And so
it's like pressurized
CO2.
It's like pressurized under the limestone. So it's like literally CO2 injection in the wild.
And that's why there are so many plants growing, and you recognize a lot of ones. You can even collect them for your aquarium. I would just clean them really well first with tap water. And it's really cool. Yeah, Zenny says it's a college town. Yeah, it's by San Marcos State University. A friend of mine was going there. That's why
I love that channel because it's just really it's uncensored. Cool. So he's just like, look at this fucking Ludwigia.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
So Zen has peed in that river.
I'm sure a lot of people have peed in it, but it's a river, so just try not to think too hard about it.
If you're tubing, you're drinking, and if you're drinking, you know.
Well, and the thing is this, all that ammonia, it will get used up by the plants. So
perfect.
Don't pee in your tanks, people. I don't endorse that. It's not a good idea. Don't do it. So
close to Schlitterbahn. So Stan is working with just, oh my God, 25 drops.
Yeah, so that's about what I had in Iowa. I mean, God, that's, yeah.
So if you don't reduce your KH, Stan, I'm curious what plants you've got that are thriving in your tank right now.
Valves. You can grow
Vallisneria and maybe I know guppy grass would.
You can also grow Hygrophila sunset. It'll grow really, really well. Yeah. You can grow Brazilian pennywort.
Probably some Bacopus, right? Because they're native.
Brazilian pennywort will grow like a weed. Sagittaria will grow like a weed. But I even had trouble with Java ferns with CO2 injection.
Just how Java ferns are.
But like if you give Java ferns CO2 injection and like normal water, like they grow like crazy. So there's a lot of discussion of peeing places in the chat.
As a man, I have peed some places.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
Don't pee in your tank.
Haven't done that.
Don't do it. Don't.
Resisted the temptation.
Scotty has not pooped in a hot tub. I guess good for you.
All right. Well, we've come to the pooping and peeing segment of Wet Your Plants. It's
really gone downhill. We got to pull it together for when Tom Barr is here, people. Like, you guys got to like be a little bit better. Just a little bit better.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he's looking for a loose, entertaining stream rather than having to do a formal presentation where he where he can't say bad words and.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know him. I mean, Luke knows him, so
Mhm.
maybe Luke would know. But I think he's probably here to provide some information.
Yeah. I mean, I gave him a list, and we'll go over it too on Wednesday. It's a lot of the same myths that are repeated over and over, and some things might be more nuanced. And maybe he actually has a different take on it than I might realize. So I'm looking forward to that.
Luke says he's a rambler. I love
Good,
it. We're
good.
not
No
we're not
dead.
exactly linear people.
Yeah,
So,
no dead air.
yeah. Is Tom Barr Clash material? I don't know. If you invited him, he might be. I mean, he teaches college courses, so scheduling can get difficult. But ask him. I think he'd be a great guest. I think he'd be a great speaker. I think he'd be a great guest. I think a lot of
For
people would
sure.
really like that. So,
And I don't know if he still sells plants and driftwood that he collects and whatnot, but he could go there and be a vendor and a speaker.
yeah, but it's the only thing is a little difficult to fly with a whole bunch of stuff, and there's no way he's driving.
That's true.
That is
Wood is bulky.
really, yeah. So apparently he spoke at the Findig and was really good. So there you
Sweet.
go. So I think I would really like that talk. That'd be great.
It's also the Comal River in New Braunfels. Greg Steves wrote a great article in Amazonas about shortest rivers. 2016,
Nice. I don't
2022.
know where New Braunfels is. Do you?
It is like San Antonio-ish.
Oh, okay. Texas. But
I mean, that's so I just know because Schlitterbahn. I've been there before, the New Braunfels one.
Yeah. But not every river down there is like that. Like the Frio River, but the Frio River is cold. I mean, Frio means cold it's called that for a reason. So I didn't see any plants in that, even though it was really clear and it was really pretty. A lot of Texas is really pretty. Not all of it though. It's a big damn state.
The further west you go, it gets dry, and
Really.
then you're like, are we out of Texas yet?
I've never been to that part of the country. Like I've never been to the Southwest. I've never been to Arizona or New Mexico.
Me either.
I went to a job interview in Cedar City, Utah. They did not hire me. That's the closest I've been. They did not.
Does Texas have cool animals? Probably not as cool as Florida, but
I mean, it's got like some cool desert animals. It's got the horned toads, which are not really toads, they're lizards. It's got armadillos. And we don't have armadillos in Indiana, so I think it's cool.
we got them here.
They have a lot of snakes, lizards. We don't have lizards up here, so I think seeing any lizard is cool. Steven's probably just like, oh, a lizard, whatever.
Never seen an armadillo. I assume they can be picked up.
No,
don't they cause leprosy?
They do. They carry they carry Hansen's disease, which is leprosy. However, 99% of people are naturally immune to leprosy.
Well,
it's very slow to.
Only one way to find out if you're a 1%er.
Make out with one of them. Yeah. But I would not handle them without gloves. Apparently they stink. So maybe you don't want to pick them up anyways. Oh, wow. Nancy says that you have armadillos in Tennessee. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know they'd made it that far north.
She said, wait a few more years.
Well, maybe to southern Indiana. I'm in northern Indiana. So, but yeah. Climate change, it's coming for us all. So,
well, also, I don't know if this is actually a fact or just something someone said and repeated, but possibly that there are more tigers in captivity in Texas than there are in the wild.
There are a lot of crazy Texans. It doesn't surprise me. And there's a lot of land in Texas. So if you want to have your shady wildlife refuge, you can.
Let's see. There is no statewide law prohibiting the ownership of tigers in Texas. Okay.
There you go. Texas.
You must register the tiger with local authorities. All right. Owners must pay a $50 application fee.
That's Texas for you.
It's quite the barrier. Owners must provide proof of a $100,000 liability policy and meet minimum caging requirements. Yeah. Something tells me that the minimum caging requirements are sad.
A chain link fence.
Mm.
My backyard.
But yet we can't own a giraffe, Zen says.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zenny. I want you to have a giraffe. I want that for you. That's, I want that for you and your kids. So, yeah, I mean, I think going to Texas is really cool, but I would not go there this time of year. I would go in March. I think March is a really great time to go to Texas.
That's when we get our window of good weather. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I went. I've been several times. My grandparents retired to Texas and we would go for spring break.
November can be good too. It just depends. Sometimes we get like a chill, but usually it's pretty mild.
November is a terrible time to come to Indiana. So, I mean, the song November Rain, well, Axl Rose was from Indiana. There you go. Cold November rain, that's where it comes from. It's not a good time to come.
Cosmin says, if you drive from Delaware to Alabama, you know you're getting close when the roadkill changes from deer to armadillos.
There you go. Renee says it costs more for tilapia permit in Texas. Texas. There you go.
You have $50. Well, you can apply for a tiger.
It's $500 for a tilapia permit. Oh God! But you know what? There's probably having tilapia in Texas is bad, though. I mean, aren't they an invasive species? I don't know. I mean, plecos are. Like when I was on the San Marcos River, I saw plecos. They're terrible. You know, the common plecos. They get enormous. Don't get common plecos as a pet. I hope everyone in chat knows that already, but if you don't buy them. They won't stay tiny. They'll get enormous.
Yeah, and then they'll be forced to release them in Florida, and no one wants that.
I mean, even if you live in Oregon, you'll be forced to like fly to Florida and release it.
And they must get so big from eating all that wood, right, Rebecca?
I like to just put 2x4s in my tank for my plecos.
Oh, that pre-treated wood.
I know, just some cedar decking.
I used to have a deck, but then I got a pleco.
There you go. I had to feed my pleco. Couldn't afford to feed both my plecos and my children, so the deck had to go.
So Scotty's doing trivia on his stream at in an hour.
All right. Will it be trivia that's like 15 years out of date? I hope so.
Google the trivia, Google fish facts, and we'll just have to guess at what the most popular websites are saying about whatever.
You know, fish. I never like to do trivia or answering questions on people's channel because my internet is slow. And so I'm always like a minute behind in chat. And that's just that.
Yeah.
Not competing against Zen, who is like on her keyboard like this as she watches a stream. Like
Zen's got the fiber optic plugged into her brain.
I know. So, yeah. But there you go. You can do Scotty trivia after this. We won't have any trivia on this show. I don't know. I don't see that ever happening, Steven, but it could.
We do probably have an old Trivial Pursuit game lying around.
I once played Trivial Pursuit from the 70s. Like, I don't know any of these. I don't know any sports questions from the 70s.
Zen lives in the Google servers. Yeah.
She does. She lives in them. She lives in the internet. She's in the cloud.
So, if there are no other plant questions, I do have a little bit of work to wrap up before
and we're getting
stream
an extra
start.
stream this week, so we're gonna live our lives.
Yep, I think so.
Well, everyone, good to see you all. Thank you
Indeed.
for attending our stream. Thank you, moderators, for moderating our stream. Thank you, lurkers, for lurking our stream, and replayers for replaying our stream.
Thank you all. Thank you all for attending at some point and doing things.
See you on Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Bye, everyone.